I got something stuck in my tooth. But what are we doing today?
We are going to spin the topic of Doom Spinner. And
topic of Doom. What is this, Indiana Jones?
Yeah, it is now. See what the hell comes up on that.
Well, we can't do that until we do the word of the day, unless you don't want to do the word of the day.
I don't care. But
all right.
Today's episode is influenced by,
banging on the table.
That was the wine bottle banging on the table. So I'm finishing up a bottle that I opened last episode.
It's only empty.
It is from Red Newt Cellars. It is Blue Newt wine. It is a Finger Lakes semi-sweet white wine. It is from the Finger Lakes region of New York, which is basically in our backyard.
Mm-hmm. Thrilling. I'm
fucker. Appreciate where you live, asshole.
I appreciate everything about this country, this beautiful country we live in America.
You don't appreciate our local wines.
That's not America. That's local wines.
That's a local wine.
So I am actually drinking a local wine, but firstly, I finished my shot of Screwball whiskey, which is the peanut butter flavored whiskey, and I am now looking at my cup full of urine. Well, no, it's not urine. It's actually much better than urine. It's White Cat, which is not anything to do with urine.
And that White Cat...
It's White Cat aphrodisiac.
No, it's White Cat... I'm sorry. It's Red Cat.
Yes,
Red Cat. It's
exactly. I knew
Red Cat. It'll get you in the sack.
Yeah. Thanks.
Which is from Hazlitt
Brewers.
Wineries, which is also in the Finger Lakes region of New York.
Yes. Maybe
an hour or so to the southeast of Rochester.
An often visited winery when we go on our wine tours.
It is
in a yellow school bus.
It is on...
With Miss Frizzle.
It is on Seneca Lake.
Yes. It's a good time had by all.
It is. The only downside, you got to
sit with Mike.
It's a school bus, so there's no bathroom, so you got to bring a gallon jug to piss into.
It does have a biohazard cleanup bag.
I'm still not going to pee on the floor of the bus.
Doesn't stop you anywhere else.
This isn't first grade all over again.
Yeah, it would help if you passed first grade.
I passed everything I took, except Spanish.
Yes, except for all those STDs as well.
I passed every STD test I ever took.
Okay.
And I never needed to take any.
All right. So, today we have... And I say today, this is something I wanted to bring up. I had been thinking about this.
It's been wearing on him.
I'm going to give you a little backstory into the workings of a successful podcaster, a professional successful podcaster. So these are the secrets.
Who do you have telling the story? What successful podcaster?
That's us.
Okay.
As successful podcasters, I'm breaking some secrets that you may not know. We may actually record multiple episodes in one night. I know.
That's groundbreaking information.
It's quite surprising, and you may notice this as our podcasts gradually increase from high sobriety to low sobriety as the episodes go on. And that's because we're continuously drinking throughout the multiple recordings that we do on one evening. And sorry, anyone whose mind is blown right now and dreams are shattered by the way we record these podcasts that necessarily recorded one per day. That's not the case, I'm afraid.
Yeah, we've been getting together the past few Saturday nights, doing anywhere from...
Why'd you say that?
Say what?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Anything.
Getting together, and doing 2 to 4 episodes at a time. And we've noticed our first episode always sounds like crap, so we end up bagging that one and just
half of it sounds like crap.
Yeah, by the end it sounds okay because we've got enough drinks in us by then. But the first half is usually pretty dry.
No one wants to listen to us sober.
So we keep that, and the more of those that we keep, we will be putting those out in like mini episodes. We'll edit through them and find the funny parts and just put those up.
Kind of like you would put out a lullaby for kids to sleep to.
Why would you compare us to a lullaby?
Because that's how dry our initial discussions are.
No, there's a couple good parts.
Yeah, whenever I'm talking.
And you're always talking.
Yes, somebody's going to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
The gaps in your back teeth.
I do have gaps in my back teeth. My dad always told me the empty drum makes the loudest noise.
Yes.
He also told me in school, make sure I sit next to the Asian kid to cheat off of.
I'm African. South African.
I didn't have any South Africans in my school. I only had Asian kids.
Yeah, that's why you failed. The South Africans would have made you pass.
Yeah, you read one book growing up.
Doesn't mean I didn't get this far without reading.
But you only read one book.
Yeah, so I'm still here with my amazing intelligence. So bite it.
Yeah.
Or suck it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do you know who your school valedictorian was?
What's a valedictorian?
Number 1 in your class.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Ours was John Choi.
You know who your dick was? Yeah, you.
John Choi was our valedictorian. And I believe he went to MIT.
Anyway, I forget what the whole reason for us discussing this was. But
the problem was, too, I wasn't smart enough to be in the same classes as the Asian kids.
Good. I think you saved them some problems there. They
probably.
Yes.
All right, we spinning the wheel of death.
Yeah. No, we're spinning the random weird word generator.
Oh, the weird word.
All right, you ready?
Weird word.
Weird word. C. The word is cherry. CHARY.
CHARY.
Yes.
Sherry or cherry?
Maybe sherry. Cherry.
Could you use it in a sentence?
I can. I am going to tell you something in cherry. I can't use it in a sentence because I don't know how to. Sherry. I shall pour you this wine, sherry. Cherry.
Jesus.
I shall pour this wine for you. I don't know.
I believe that it means to do something with exuberance, or you're glad to help out in this certain way.
Okay. So I like your answer. It's complete opposite. To discreetly, cautious, or sparingly. Cherry.
So I was on the right track, just on the wrong
end
of the track.
You were heading in the wrong direction. You were facing the train, and the train was on its way and was going to run over you.
But I was still on the track.
Yes. Maybe you're going sideways on the track.
But I was on it.
Yes. Okay, so that's the word of the day, cherry. We'll remember that and use it one day.
Well, why don't we spin the
topic?
Spin the wheel, Pat.
So straight on. No time for tarry or cherry. Cherry. We use our time cherry here.
Did we say what we're drinking this episode?
I think we may have.
I think we did too.
Yes.
Never mind. That's why I can't remember.
Yes.
I got about 2 bottles of wine.
I'm usually the one with the memory problems.
I got 2 bottles of wine.
Saved us there. Yeah. So
we gotta make. We gotta. You know what we gotta make again?
What's that? Apple?
Yeah, buddy.
What is it?
Apple pie moonshine.
Apple pie moonshine. Yes, we are moonshiners of a very cheap and easy way.
That was good.
It's not true moonshine, everybody. Calm down. Don't call the cops.
No, it's just, what was it? It was apple
We're not going to be
cider.
hiding in the bushes while the cops drive by in a scripted show.
Oh, shut up. What was it? It was apple cider, apple juice, thyme, Everclear.
Thyme?
Yeah, thyme. That was... So we got this recipe. Sorry, Ashley. We got this recipe from my daughter's old boyfriend a few years back. Nice kid, but he went up to Maine with us one summer, and he sent us out to this when we said, what do we need to make this moonshine type drink? And he says, we need thyme. I said, thyme? Yeah, Thyme. I said, thyme? He says, no, thyme.
So we all got the thyme for this story.
That's the joke for that. Mm-hmm. But man, and then he put Everclear in
it. It was good though. He taught us a thing or two.
He did. It was good.
Yeah. In due time, we learned how to make some delicious alcohol.
I would agree. When it was time to take a drink, it was good.
Oh, anyway, that's all the time we got for that discussion. No, it was good. Yeah, apple pie moonshine. I mean, there's a ton of recipes online. You can find your own, but yeah, apple pie moonshine. It's good. Make it.
It was.
Drink it.
And then the following year we made some purple drink.
Oh yeah, purple drink. Not with the original, the not with the cough medicine. It was.
I don't even remember what the hell.
No, we didn't make.
I thought it was the same thing.
Then again, we didn't make purple drink. No,
I think it was the exact same thing as what we had made the year before.
Apple pie moonshine.
I think so.
What are you talking about? Purple drink.
I think you named it brown drink.
Yeah, I think I did because it was brown and it was drank.
Is Lil Wayne the guy that made purple drink?
No, I think it was. Maybe it was. I'm not clued up.
Lil Wayne was the first person kicked off the show Masked Singer.
Okay.
It's
real. Is that like Mass Murderer?
It's reality TV.
Yeah, I can stay away from that. Is that like no, wasn't it okay? Who says that?
Okay. Lil Jon.
Little John, yes. Didn't he make purple drink?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not up on my...
or at least he mentioned... I don't know. Somebody made purple drink.
I'm not up on any of my rappers this millennium.
Loser. He's not cool. All right. Let's find out what we're going to be discussing today.
Purple drink.
Could be anything.
What's with that big jar of hand sanitizer over there? Is that how you're getting drunk when I'm not around?
No, it's to wipe up the spilled alcohol that you happen to pour all over the floor and the table.
That was your fault.
Yeah, no, you poured it all over the floor. You can't handle your drinks. It's not my fault.
It's not my fault you can't pour a normal drink.
Here we go. And we're about to spin the official spin that nobody knows that we've spun it twice already. Here we go.
Let's see what we get.
The value of a college education.
Oh, let's fucking destroy it.
Destroy it?
Because I think it's a crock of shit.
You want to delete it or?
No, fucking use it. Let's run.
All right, we're going with value of college education.
Let's
go.
Let's go, Greyhound. I'm going to say overall, the value of a college education, you are in the negative or in the red. Now,
what does that mean?
It means that the value
You're Russian?
Huh?
You're Russian?
Yeah. Fucker.
Man.
I lost my train of thought.
You're in the red. You're the value of education. You're in the red.
Now,
I hate reading.
Where I will say that there's differences. If you're going to say Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Notre Dame, universities that have
anything to drop Notre Dame.
Absolutely. I got
hardcore Catholic school.
I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I have Notre Dame socks on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of the religion. Anywho, these big time schools that have a big time name, the networking that comes along with your education is what's going to be worthwhile, is when you can go down to Wall Street because you're some financial guru and you can say, oh yeah, I went to Notre
Stanford,
Dame, Stanford,
Yale, Harvard,
whatever, Princeton, and that's going to help you get your foot in the door.
For those higher end positions, yes.
But no, it could even get you in on the ground floor.
Oh no, I think if you went to a McDonald's job and said, "I've got a Stanford education,"
you're not getting hired. You're overqualified.
No, exactly. So no, you're not going to get into the. It's not going to get you in the door on a McDonald's position.
No, but I'm saying
not knocking McDonald's. I mean, I think any job anywhere is a good position. I mean, if you're working, you're making a life for yourself.
No,
so
absolutely.
Nothing wrong with any job. So
if you're an adult that
I am
that works full time, I have no problem with what you do. And if at the end of the day, let's say you work 40 hours and you make X number of $500 a week, I'll say, and you can barely get by, I have no problem with the government giving you a help, because you're doing your part. You're going to work. You're working 40 hours a week, and you're still having a hard time getting by. I'll help you. I will help you. I don't know how we got on this topic.
What's it got to do with a college education?
I don't know.
So you're complaining about having a college education?
No,
or
not
the value of a college education?
The value of one. The cost of college is astronomical.
Okay, now is it the cost as in the monetary cost, or the cost as in the benefit of getting a college education?
No. The benefit is you get an education.
Okay.
Education, you can't put a price on education. See, that's why my argument is going to sound goofy, because
like everything you say,
probably, but education is invaluable. It's something that once you have it, nobody can take it away from you. No matter what they do, they can take
unless you get a lobotomy.
Sure, but I mean, they can take your material things. They can take all that, but what education you have, that's yours for the rest of your life. However, the cost of getting that education, let's just say you want to be an engineer, a mechanical engineer. The cost of that, and sure, when you graduate, maybe you're going to make $65,000 a year to start. But, depending upon where you went to college, you might have $2,000 a month in student loan payments. So, and you've got that for 12, 14, 15 years. How are you getting ahead when you're unloading a shit ton of money to pay for that education?
So, dickwad, is this a...
I'm the dickwad.
Nah, I just felt like throwing that in. So, the cost of education. Now, is this based on any education? So, you're specifically saying Stanford, Harvard, all that stuff. Clearly, those are going to be higher cost. If you went to MCC or a local community college,
SUNY school,
SUNY community college, whatever, you went there, you would pay considerably less, and potentially for the same education you would get from maybe slightly less personally focused education, but an education nonetheless. You would still get the same understanding of what's going on in the world.
Correct.
So
no, I have no problem with community college. I have no problem with state schools. I think it's a phenomenal way to get an education at an affordable price.
I think that the it's like buying an Apple iPhone compared to a Google phone or any kind of other phone. You are getting the Apple name with your purchase, and that makes you feel like or identify as somebody who's more important than someone else who has a different phone. Whereas the phone you have is got the same technology, the same electronics, the same functionality, slightly different in some ways, but for the most part, it does exactly the same. It makes phone calls, it takes text messages, it reads emails, it goes on the web, it does everything you need to do. But yes, it's called an Apple iPhone. You go to Harvard, you'll get a Harvard degree that does the same as a MCC degree. You will be able to do the same things except for Well, not necessarily except for you may go to a MCC course or class and get a lawyer degree. I don't know if they offer a lawyer degree of any sort.
No, it's a two-year college.
So maybe you get half a lawyer degree. Maybe your law degree. And then,
tell he doesn't know the American collegiate system.
Oh, so stupid. It's like processed cheese. It's so stupid. I mean, you don't have this kind of stigmatism with schools you go to in South Africa. If you go to a university as opposed to a technical college, you will get a more hands-on degree with a technical college as opposed to a. So it's the same as a trade schools as opposed to a more learned degree.
Well, the difference, I mean, you're still getting education. The difference is one is a college education.
Clearly, we're struggling with all of them. So
no, and one is as a tradesman. And when you look at tradesmen, it's the same thing as going to college and getting a degree in, say, engineering, where you're learning a skill, and once you know that skill, no one can take that from you. Anytime, you can go find a job as a electrician, as a pipe fitter, as a flooring,
like fitting pipes, right?
Yes. As a tile, guy that lays tile or concrete. It's an invaluable skill that people will pay money for, because especially now, more and more people are going to college. Less people are going into the trades, so it's making these tradesmen more valuable.
Is that legitimately the true statement that people are going to college more than trade school?
Yes, because high schools are saying you have to go to college. You're going to be nothing in life if you don't go to college. But you know what? You go to college, and again, I'm not knocking college. I went to college myself. I didn't graduate, but I went. And it was foolish, the university that I went to, because I was going for social work, yet I was paying $18,000 a year.
Once again, silver spoon gets exposed.
Yeah. As a social worker, you're not going to make that much money. So for me to go to a college that cost that much was stupid. But that's for a different day. But the trades, you go in, you start learning, you're making money as you're learning, and it's a 4, 5, 6 year apprenticeship, but you're making money the whole time. And with the amount of people that are going to college now, these trades jobs, there's less people applying for them, so they need more people. But nobody tells you that, hey, at the end of your apprenticeship for, let's say the pipe fitters union, you're going to make $36 an hour. And once you add in your benefits package and you're in the union and you can retire at, say 55 years old if you get into the union when you're young.
Damn.
All of a sudden you're thinking, shit, if I'm working at that local engineering firm and I'm a civil engineer, but I still got to work till I'm 65 and I'm paying off an ass load of debt from college for the next 15 years, where I could have zero debt, be making money while I'm learning what
He's almost done, guys.
While I'm learning what I'm doing, all of a sudden that trade looks a whole lot more appealing. And I feel like because high schools don't encourage the trades.
Okay, so the topic itself was the value of a college education. So MCC or SUNY or whatever is considered a college.
For those of you out of town, MCC is Monroe Community College.
It's a community college, which is kind of like a technical college in other areas. And
the SUNY school system is
Same
the
thing.
State University of New York.
Once again, more of a in South Africa, that would be considered more of a technical college or the like, whereas a university or a Harvard or that kind of thing would be considered a university. So the topic is whether it's the value of a university or college course, college degree. Now, if we look at SUNY and Harvard and all of those schools as the same thing, the same classification of a college degree, the value of those would be what? I mean, what's the goal of this topic? Is to say that you should get it or you shouldn't get it? Is it a waste of time? Is it good?
No, because it for some things you absolutely need it. I mean, do you want to go to a doctor that doesn't have a degree?
Depends on what I'm getting. If it's Botox, maybe.
But you know what I mean? There's some things that you absolutely need a degree for. There's no getting around it. But there's other things that you can learn on the job over time. But the way that our society works now, they're saying, nah, that's not good enough. You've got to go to college. And what I can use for...
But you're saying that's bad or good?
I'm saying it's good and bad. I mean...
Okay, so
but let me give you this example. Yeah. My dad was an electrician.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. He was an electrician. Never went a day to college. Got basically hired with a contractor at 19. Worked for 5 years with him. And then got hired directly.
I wish Mike had told me this before I had you do the work on our house.
Yeah. And
just kidding, Mike.
And my dad's Mike, too.
It's too confusing.
And...
and Mikey.
He got hired direct from the local power company.
The local pub.
As an electrician. And eventually worked his way up to an engineer. And it was him and another guy. Not a day of college, but they had all the knowledge in the world because they had been on the job for 25, 30 years.
Yes.
But then eventually the company got sold, and it got sold again, and it got sold again, and those last people said, you can't be an engineer because you don't have a degree. But he knew what he was doing. Right.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. So, agree. Having a high school, a college degree should not necessarily be a something that dictates whether you get a job or not, or whether you can do a specific job or not. With the story Mike just told us about his dad, who I've met, and he's a fantastic guy. If he's had the skills and been through the process of doing it in real life and been able to, and he's actually done stuff like that where it's fixed things, and it's experience, and experience is important in these kinds of things.
But to too many companies now, that piece of paper has become all that important.
No, not now. It's always been that way.
But it's more so now. More companies are saying, nope, you need that degree. You need that degree.
I don't know if that's particularly the case. When I grew up and I went to school, maybe it was different back in South Africa. I don't know. Either way, having that degree was more important than having the experience. If you have that degree, then it's almost like, yes, I know what I'm doing. But even if you haven't had that experience, but you had the paper, you would have more opportunity than not the experience. Whereas the experience is far more important to me in my life.
No,
in my understanding, having that experience and knowing what's right and what's wrong is far more important than having the piece of paper that says you understand what could be right or wrong.
Yeah, no, I would rather have somebody with the experience versus the knowledge of sitting in a classroom.
But with that said, you also want to have the understanding of the general basics of how things work, so that when you're applying your knowledge of what you're doing, you know that you're applying it correctly.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's just say you were going to go build a new house.
Okay.
And you've got to hire a builder.
Okay.
Are you going to hire let's just say, 55-year-old contractor that's been in the business for 30 years? He's built hundreds of homes. Maybe not hundreds. Let's just say 100.
He's overseen
100 homes. he's built in his career.
He's helped build.
Yes. He is on the site, on the job site for every single new build that happens. Or do you want to hire the company that sends out the 25-year-old college graduate with a degree in architecture, let's just say, and the actual owner of the company is never on your build site whatsoever, and the 25-year-old with the architecture degree.
Don't make it negative because of certain situations. It's either that one or the other one.
All right, that one or the other one.
So I would like both of them, and this is why. I would like the guy who knows what he's doing, who's done it all before, and he's built houses. He's built maybe 10, 20 houses before, or 100 houses before, whatever the case is. He's knows what, from experience, what's good and what's bad. I'd like him there. He works on it. I would also like the 25-year-old there to help implement some of the newer technology, the newer designs, the newer constructions, the newer things that might have been taught to him, or not necessarily through practical knowledge, but through systems that now provide us with information right at our fingertips. Maybe he's been taught that. I would like him there to help guide the veteran through his system. So maybe he says, well, how about we use this new technology to do it this way? And then the veteran can say, well, okay, I'll apply it using these old techniques of how we can wire that in the system, but using the new technology. So I would like a hybrid of both of them, because what you're going to find with the veterans, what you're going to find with the veterans is they stuck in their way. They want to do it the way they're doing it, which is fine. It's worked up until now, but maybe with newer technology, there's things that help make it a little easier. So a hybrid. You don't want either of them doing it solo. You wanted a hybrid.
I could agree with that. I mean, I could see having the guy with the newer technology and newer methods, maybe more cost-effective methods.
I can bring an example of this with plumbing, right? And I don't know why you're putting your microphone to your ear.
So that when I lean in, it's right here.
Okay, so
I'm a mouth breather, folks. So I can't sit in front of the mic.
With your plumbing, right? I've dabbled in a little bit of plumbing. I'm definitely not an expert, and I've looked into. I mean, I know that there's older ways of doing things with copper piping and with melting the flux and all that stuff to get the pipes to stick together. And I know that you can do that with the new PVC pipes, and you can do cement that sticks the pipes together. But now I know that there's these shark bite connections that makes it a breeze.
It's all the PEX stuff.
Yes, exactly. And so having the knowledge of doing that, but while using that knowledge with your old school knowledge of how pipes should run with as few connections as possible, that kind of thing, I absolutely think that the connection between old and new can work well together. And
no, I'm not saying it can't.
I think it's important to be able to mix the two. I think having that what's it the carnal knowledge. The
carnal knowledge.
What is it? Dinosaur knowledge?
I don't know. I don't have it, I guess.
the old school knowledge, as well as the new school college degree or whatever's been taught in school now, is important, and that's why I think the value of a college degree is important. But I don't believe that having that piece of paper and having to go through the entire thing. I think a hybrid mix of both of them is important.
Well, part of what I think too is it's a money grab on behalf of the universities. Now, why I think that is, I understand wholeheartedly about being a well-rounded student. So they want you to to take, various liberal art courses and, various other electives. But at the end of the day, if my son goes to college and he says, Dad, I want to be an electrical engineer, ballerina, I don't care. And, why does he need to take psychology? Why does he need to take a sociology?
Don't get into the yard games, the lawn games.
No, but I think that's legitimate because realistically, approximately 2 to 2.5 years of your college education is what you're taking towards your degree.
Okay.
So why do you need to be there 4 years to get this when you're taking a bunch of bullshit classes?
Because this topic isn't about electives, but
this isn't about electives. It's about the value of a college education. Right. They're overcharging our kids because they're saying for the 2.5 years that you're going to get that's good towards your degree, you got to pay for an additional 1.5 years of bullshit fucking yard games and psychology and, sociology and all these other fucking courses.
Okay.
And the only thing that extra that they should have to do besides their actual coursework towards their degree is an internship, because that's going to help them, because it's going to give them hands-on experience in the degree or in the field that they are getting their degree in.
Right. I think once you've left high school, and maybe high school is the place to do these yard games, or not necessarily yard games, but these forced electives that make you decide ultimately what you want to be doing. I think when you're in high school and you're forced to try all sorts of different things, I think that's important. With some degree of direction.
I don't think you should have to pay money and be forced to try something new.
Yes, no. So I mean, that's obviously a completely different discussion. I'm just adding that. Going into college, and college education is important in that you should be paying for what you need to learn. You should be paying for something that will give you an understanding for your future goals. If you decide you want to be a dentist, you should do courses that are relevant to your dentistry. You should do practical stuff that's relevant to your dentistry. And I'm not saying that you don't, but I think it should be highly targeted towards your dentistry and your practical understanding of how dentistry works. I don't think lawn games would be beneficial in any way whatsoever as a dentist.
But I mean, I've got these college kids or recent graduates that are coming in, and again, they'll have an engineering degree of one form or another. And I say engineering because with Rochester Institute of Technology being here, it's a huge engineering school. So that's why I know a lot of people that are engineering majors or have graduated from there. But they're coming out with high 5, low 6 digit numbers worth of student loan debt. And again, sure, they're making $65,000 a year to start, but with the amount of loans that they're going to have, they can't buy a house anytime soon. They've got to have a roommate their first few years out of high school. And
the cost of school education is exorbitant and completely uncalled for. And this is where sports costs should be subsidized so that you're not paying sports people millions of dollars. You should be taking that money and pouring it into schools so that people don't have to pay for their education. Use the money that's going to sports people.
That's the most ridiculous thing I heard.
Shut the fuck up. So sports education, $20, $30, $40 million contracts should be cut into $5 million contracts. That's like tiny amount. If I went to college, I would know how much the amount that is. You take that percentage and you pour it into school for
shit crazy.
How many kids could you support for, say, $20 million?
Oh, a lot.
Yes, exactly. You take one sports athlete who's being paid $50 million. You cut his payment into $5 million. $5 million. That's a lot of fucking money for somebody to be playing sports. You pay him $5 million to play his little sport game with his ball and his bat. hits the ball, he runs after the ball, he throws that pigskin, whatever the hell he does. Then you take that money, that $50 million that he didn't get paid, you take that $50 million chunk, you put it into however many kids that could support for a high school or a college education. How many of those kids could go on to achieve something amazing because they got all that free schooling because of the sports guy didn't hit a ball with his bat?
But what you're forgetting is if that sports athlete does not get that $50 million, the owner of the team gets it.
What?
If he's not paying out his star athlete $50 million,
that owner of the team shouldn't be getting shit. I'm sorry.
He owns a team. It's a business.
Okay, so he owns the team. He should be getting paid, what, $100,000?
Are you fucking kidding me? He owns the team.
I don't give a shit. He owns the team because he's got the bunch of money that he's gotten over the years.
But listen.
No.
I'm going to give you a perfect example.
I'm going to give you a perfect example.
No,
shut up.
You shut up. Dickwad. So look at it like
this.
No.
You're giving me some example about a team owner who doesn't mean shit to me. He shouldn't be paid more than $5 million either.
Listen,
let's say
it's his business.
Okay, listen.
No, listen. I've got a prime example.
Listen, Linda. Listen.
So
listen, Linda.
Look at me. I own I own my barber shop, right?
Yeah.
I own the barber shop.
Okay.
So I make X number of dollars just off the haircuts that I do on a daily basis.
Right.
Okay. Now,
I need one, by the way.
I'll hook you up. I know a guy.
You know the owner?
Yeah. Now, if I have a guy renting a chair from me, he's paying me X number of dollars per week.
This is another barber cutting in your shop?
Yes. He's renting the second chair from me. Okay. Now, I'm making X number of dollars per week off this guy.
Okay.
And he's got his own clientele.
Okay. So stop right there, because let's say this $5 million baseball player, or let's stick with baseball because it's easier to say it's more exciting than football because there's two components as opposed to one stupid pigskin component. Okay, so we got this baseball player. He's getting paid $6 million. He drops one of those millions. Initially, let's say his contract is $50 million a year. Okay, is that reasonable?
Sure.
Okay.
It's high, but...
So... Bobby Baseball plays baseball, and he's getting $50 million for playing baseball. Cut that by $40 million. Take that $40 million, put it aside, put it in your pocket. He's now getting
$10
million. Take $2 million of that. Let's put that into Bobby Baseball's boss's pocket. So now Bobby Baseball blah 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 is getting Bobby Baseball's boss. I should have picked something with SBs. Bobby Baseball's boss is getting $2 million for the season for this guy playing baseball, right?
Yep.
$2 million is a lot of money. That's one player. He's got how many players on his team?
Baseball, I think it's 24.
Okay, let's make it 20 because it's easier to calculate.
So $2 million per player is $48 million if there's 24.
So he's getting $48 million a year. So that's the owner of the team. $48 million. I'm sure he paid maybe $50 million.
Oh no! Like the NFL?
No. We're not talking. We're talking baseball.
Baseball.
Just keep it simple.
Baseball is the wild fucking west.
Okay.
There are no.
So how much of football then?
Football. You're paying your team total.
No. How much are you buying a team for?
Are you buying? So the Bills were the last team to sell, and it was at the least expensive price. But I want to say it was either 1.2 or 1.4 billion dollars.
Okay. So this is baseball, so it's a lot cheaper. So regardless, this guy already owns. He grew up. He was born. He inherited this baseball team.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, baseball has much higher salaries than football.
Doesn't matter. $50 million for this baseball player. This baseball player is making $50 million a year. He's getting paid by who? The team manager? The team owner?
No, the owner is the one.
The owner is
pays.
paying the baseball player?
Yeah.
So the baseball player is paying this guy $50 million, right?
Okay.
$40 million we take away. We put that in our pocket. $2 million, that goes to the owner. The rest of that goes to the player. The player's getting $8 million. I mean, would you deal with $8 million a year?
Yes, but
Could you live on $8 million a year?
You are a socialist.
Listen, could you live on $8 million?
Oh,
Just
absolutely.
deal with it. Okay, so why couldn't this guy? This guy's a human being living in the United States of America, living in wherever he lives. So he's getting $8 million. The owner's getting $2 million. There's $40 million in my pocket right now. That $40 million can be taken.
But it
just hold it, you
shut
motherfucker.
your fucking hole.
Hold it. You got $40 million. $40 million. That's a lot of money. That can be spread amongst how many students pay $1 million a year? None.
But
None.
But
No.
You need to listen to what I'm saying.
No buts. No. We've got $40 million in our
I've
pocket.
got a giant hole in your story.
Okay, but we got $40 million that could be spread amongst all those students. We could pay for so many kids who would never even believe that they would be able to get into some kind of college degree, who have the intelligence and the ability and the strength to get into that a degree or do a degree that they can get a free ride on. They can get their degree so that they have that stupid piece of paper that gives them the certificate that grants them the ability to get a job.
You would have $40 million one time. Because if you're the owner of the team and you're making $2 million a year.
Oh, no.
Listen, no. With the math.
Because I'm talking about one player.
With the math that you just gave.
I'm talking about one player.
Listen, if you're saying that if that guy makes $50 million, okay,
yep.
You take 40 away, and then the owner makes $2 million, so that player makes $8 million, okay? Now, let's just say there's 24, or we'll go with your math of 20 players per baseball team, which I know is low, but we'll go with it for easy math. If he's making $2 million, if the owner is making $2 million per year per player, times 20, what's
as low as that $40 million that we've got available?
$40 million. It's only going to happen 1 year.
Yeah, but
it's
that
not
money, it's
viable.
like energy. Energy's got to go somewhere, right? Energy doesn't just disappear. Money just doesn't disappear. That money's got to go somewhere. So, in theory, we've got all those players in that team. Let's say how many? You said 20 players.
But you didn't let me finish. With that, he's got $40 million a year that he makes, right? Is that what we're saying? If he makes $2 million a year times 20 players, that's $4 million or $40 million, correct?
Who
the owner? Yeah. So then the following season, he's got to pay $8 million to the top guy. Now he's down to $32 million.
Poor baby.
By the time you pay your players, there's no money to go around.
Oh, where?
So your idea of $40 million
No.
is you screwed the pooch. You're out the window.
Listen.
1 year and there's your money.
Listen.
You blew your wad all at once.
Yeah, it took you 5 seconds to do that.
Hey, I still got 3 kids.
So, all this money that's currently going in, I know this is, once again, off the topic, but all this money, and we've kind of covered this topic already, all this money that's going into his pocket, the owner's pocket. So, it's not $40 million that's going into his pocket. He's got enough to pay this one player $40 million. He's got a hell of a lot more going into his pocket that he's pouring back out into all his players, right?
Yeah.
So take all that money that's going into his pocket to play all these players, and shut it down so that you're taking out $40 for each player. I'm not saying that's what you do, but you take it out $40 for each of those players, put it in your pocket. I'm showing my card, put it in my pocket.
Is imaginary
$40 million.
pockets.
Yes, they take a lot of money. So in theory, you get to a point where he's not getting paid enough to pay these guys $40 million. He's just getting paid enough to pay them $4 million or $8 million each, which is still a hell of a lot of money.
But why should he have to give his money away to pay for other kids to go to school?
I'm not saying, no.
That's exactly what you're saying.
No,
you're saying
he's getting paid too much money in the first place.
Says who?
Me. But I'm saying he gets paid far too much money in the first place to pay all these guys $40 million. He should not be. He should be getting paid enough money to pay these guys $8 million each, which is even still way too much money to be paying these guys in the first place. Same as celebrities. These guys should not be paying, not be getting paid enough money to pay these guys more than $8 million per season.
So let me just...
all that money that's getting poured in by these people who come and watch the games, because it's overpriced. The hot dogs are overpriced. The beers are overpriced. The seats are overpriced. Everything is over fucking priced, because so that money goes into his pocket so that he can pay his guys way more money than they deserve.
But
everybody's getting paid way too much money.
Says who?
And all that money, me. All that money is a waste of money. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that anyone's dictated that's how much that's how it's become in this country. That's such a
the thing is,
way off topic with this one.
People will come and pay the money to see these phenomenal athletes play their game. Phenomenal
athletes. They're hyped up on human growth hormones and pumping out these plays that last for one season and then wait. Oh, look, he did it again next season. Oh, look, he did it next season.
So let me ask you this.
What are you wasting your time watching these games for when you could be doing other things?
Let me ask you this. So let's just say, because it's bound to happen, if this podcast just fucking goes galactic and we're the next Joe Rogan and we're making $30 million a year on this podcast and we're splitting it 15-15.
I'm giving $40 million of that to school, college education.
You are full of more shit than a bag of assholes.
The one I'm going to be completely honest with you. I would love money. I got no problem with having money, but the one thing I'm completely honest with you, nothing would give me bigger joy than giving money to, like, large amounts of money to other people. I would love to go out to the street or anywhere and find people who are worthy of it and give them money.
No, and I can get behind giving people money that are in need, or I mean, I would donate a significant amount of money.
I don't need $40 million at all. I wouldn't.
But it's the things that you choose to do with your money.
Yes.
Those owners of sports teams are choosing to pay those athletes that sum of money because that's what those athletes bring in.
Yeah, but how much are those guys getting, those owners getting?
It varies. Every owner is different.
I think we may have covered a bit of this topic on a unreleased version of our discussion. And I don't want to get too much into it because it can...
And I was right then.
It can get over... I mean, it's a heated topic, obviously. And I think anyone who doesn't care about sports is going to get bored.
The value of a college education, though?
Yes.
Which was our original topic?
Yes. No, go ahead.
So, I asked a customer of mine who is a college professor. Now, he is at a community college.
Okay.
But I asked him, I said, we got an individual taking a class at Harvard University. We've got an individual taking a class at SUNY Brockport. Same class, same description, everything. It's a
basically the same class.
Yeah, general ed class.
So you don't have to go any further than that. It's the same thing.
What is the difference between...
It's iPhone versus some shit phone.
Listen, shut your mouth. What is the difference between...
Shut your mouth.
The history course, we'll say, at Harvard and the history course at Brockport? And
absolutely nothing.
No, what he told me is he said, really the difference for the most part, I mean, obviously the name is going to take you a long way with networking. But if you get rid of the name altogether and you're just talking about the class, He said, chances are the professor at Harvard wrote the book. The professor at Brockport is using the book that the professor at Harvard wrote. He said, so it's firsthand research or knowledge, depending upon the subject, versus secondhand replaying it back to you.
Which
for whatever that's worth.
So, yeah, no, that's a great point. Because what if the student knows that? So the student knows that the person talking firsthand is the person who wrote the book. So they take that as the word. They say, well, this guy wrote the book. This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm going to believe him more when hearing the story. Whereas the person who is at MCC says, this is the book that's being written. This guy is telling me about the book that's been written. I don't know if I believe the book that's being written. I might change some of the features of this book because I'm not hearing it firsthand. I'm hearing it from somebody who's telling me the story. I might change my concept of what's going on in the story. So I'm going to give it a slightly different spin, which is ultimately what evolution of understanding. Yeah. The evolution of understanding is trying to find a different way of telling a story. Granted, neither way is the correct way. It's somebody's understanding of the correct way. So getting different perspectives as opposed to having somebody telling you this is what I believe, this is what it is, or this is what somebody else believes, this is what it could be, you're going to be like more apt to change the way you're thinking if you're hearing it as a secondhand story. This is my own personal belief. If I'm hearing somebody say, well, this is somebody who wrote the story and this could be the truth, or this is me, I wrote the story, I know this is truth.
Well, I mean, I think it depends on what, I mean, like,
let's
just say it's a history course. Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
No. So a history course is what it is based on their belief of what happened. A history course is difficult. A science course is a bit easier because you can prove science because you can recreate the experiments that demonstrate the results.
But I would argue that you can prove some of history that has happened.
You can say this is a dinosaur fossil, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is a true dinosaur fossil.
Well, I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on how far back you go. If you're more...
even carbon dating is questionable because people don't know how correct that is.
Well, we'll say a history course, 1812 to the present. Most of the data, most of the research is already there.
Well, it's there from what people have dug up from history.
Exactly, but I would argue that most of that information is going to be...
it's going to be based on what people who dug up their history.
But it's going to be fairly accurate.
It's going to be it's accurate to what they believed.
I'll agree to disagree to some extent. You're a conspiracy theorist.
I'm not. Absolutely not. I'm reluctant to believe exactly what is told to me. If somebody tells me that this happened in history, it could have. I'm not going to say it didn't. It could have, but I'm not going to say it did. It might have.
Yeah, but I
just because you studied it, and just because you looked at some of the books and some of the stuff that was passed down by history.
Yeah, but when you get hundreds of thousands of books that are recounting essentially the exact...
I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands.
I'm sure you can go find hundreds of thousands of books that carry...
Bro.
Shut up and
You didn't listen to our first podcast because I hate reading. I'm not going to read any books.
I know.
I don't care how old those are.
But if you picked books that covered American history from 1812 to the present, there's going to be hundreds of thousands of them.
There will be a lot. A lot of different accounts. Different accounts of different situations.
But most of them will have a lot of the same topics.
Especially from now, even recent history, where different topics are covered differently. It depends entirely on how you look at it.
No, I agree, and with it depends on what station you're watching.
Exactly.
Covers how it.
So let's say you go back in history to Jebediah Joseph. Jebediah Joseph covered a story about the war back in 1812. He covered a story about 1812. He said, "Man, I can't believe how much we've won this war. We've taken out this many people." His account for what happened could be completely different to Simon Cray's view of what happened in the war, and because Simon Cray's view is completely different from a political standpoint of what Jebediah, whatever his name was.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm sure you could find someone that Jebediah knew, say Ebenezer or Abraham, that were in the same...
Jebediah's family is generally going to be along the same political guidelines as... I would be hesitant to agree with what...
But Jebediah is not going to be fighting this battle by himself. And maybe his sons Ebenezer and Abraham would be with him, but chances are that you go a little bit down the road and Josiah and Jeremiah and the other Ezekiel are going to be fighting alongside with him, and I'd be hard pressed to say that obviously some details might change a little bit based on where they were during this battle, but I would say overall they're probably going to have some pretty similar stories and recount the same events happening.
So, I don't know how closely they're going to be accounting the same events, or how but they may generally be close because they're along the same political guidelines. You may have a bunch of other people who are difficult political affiliated differently from
how did we get onto politics?
We're not really discrushing. Oh, jeez, this is falling apart fast. I don't even remember how we came across this.
The wheels fell off.
Either way, I think it's a good discussion because I think we've got to be careful with how we understand what happened in history. History is driven by what people told us, and we can't go by word of what people told us. We have to assume and make assumptions based on the aggregate of what everyone told us. And we can't look at it from a certain group of people, because a certain group of people may be a certain particular political persuasion. I guess in theory you would have to look at the entirety of all history that was gathered, and then take all of that, see where the similarities are, and find the similarities and say, well, because of the similarities between all the different groups within all the different political arenas and different situations, because there's certain similarities, those we can say are most likely true, or at least close to truth as possible. Because, yes, slavery happened in this group, slavery happened in this group. We like slavery, we didn't like slavery. Slavery happened. Yes, there's one common understanding that slavery was there. So that's an understanding that we can say is true.
What about the people that say the Holocaust didn't happen?
Those are recent people, right?
There's people all along. There's people that'll say slavery wasn't an issue.
Who?
I can guarantee you could find somebody.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. You may find people who say that, or may not even mention, or may say that slavery didn't happen.
Or here's another example. Sorry to cut you off, but like China, with the whole Tiananmen Square event, you cannot find that on their web.
No, but you have video of that happening.
But
you have physical evidence of that happening.
But if someone in Wuhan, China, Googles Tiananmen Square, nothing's coming up. If they try to look up the Tiananmen Square event from whatever 1980s, 1990s, I don't remember offhand, but it will not come up under
I don't think it was Wuhan.
I'm saying if someone in Wuhan,
You're just trying to bring in the coronavirus.
no, it was the first Chinese city I could think of because of the coronavirus. But no, it
racist.
You know what I mean? China has got their grips upon Google and Yahoo and whatever other search engines there are, and they dictate what their.
You're a dictate.
You're a dictate. They decide what their residents and their people are going to view online, and what history they can get and what history they're not going to get because they decided to erase it.
Yeah, no, they're specifically limiting what people can see, which is what happened to me as growing up in South Africa. We had our news and our newspapers and everything was what's the word?
Censored.
Censored. It was censored because they didn't want African people portrayed in a positive light. At least that's what my understanding is. There would be, I mean, with the majority of focus, I forget the word. With the certain situations, the news is I can't even think what we were talking about. What were we talking about?
I don't really remember. Education?
Yes, the value of a college education.
Was that this one?
That was this one. So yeah, no. Value of a college education. Completely off topic, but I think we covered a lot of stuff that was valid, and regardless of the last lot of stuff we talked about, I think we did relatively well.
It's probably the longest we've ever stayed on a topic.
So yes, I think with that we're way over time. We did well on that topic. We really beat a dead horse. A dead horse that went to college and probably shouldn't have because it wasted its money.
And if you've got anything to say about it, you can get at us either via Twitter.
Tell Mike what an asshole he is.
Yes, at Lyrical Laxative. That's 2 L's in the middle, no S on the end. At Lyrical Laxative. Or email us at lyricallaxatives@gmail.com. That's a double L in the middle and an S on the end. lyricallaxatives@gmail.com.
Feel free to send over anything. We'll take pictures, we'll take words, we'll take whatever you want to send us.
Send nudes.
Nudes are good. I said before, no nudes. I'm getting to the point where I don't even care.
All right. Well, this is Mike.
This is John.
And we are Lyrical Laxatives, and we will see you when the laxative kicks in.
See you when the laxative kicks in.
See ya.
See ya.